Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of Rodney Hash. Today we have quite a few updates here, a couple of things we got to talk about. The first one being is I did have an interaction with Keith of Leaf and Lettuce. That was the guy that you seen in the last video, actually in handcuffs. I did have an interaction with him and the other girl, Megan, that was involved in the whole thing. I don't want to say their last names. That was at the Ohio Cannabis Lobby Day. Shout out to Civics Cannabis. He hosted that. Leaf and Lettuce did show up. The very end of the day, I did confront him. I don't even want to call it confront because I really just wanted to ask a couple of questions to get his side of the story, but we'll get into that. I've spoken to one of I don't know if he's the venue owner, but he's directly involved in Holistic Cloud. I've gotten his side of the story, and that really changes a lot of things. As well as there's been a couple of interactions that Keith has had with outside sources and things that he's telling people that have then come back to me with proof, with like messages, pictures of their messages, what his side of the story that he's telling people now is. And that things are pretty wild right now. I do have the open records request out, and we'll talk about that just a little bit. That's pretty wild. As well as the real small win that we did get within SB 56. So I just want to tie this all in a bow with that and talk about, our win in this situation. There isn't a lot of wins in the rest of this story. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is Lobby Day. At the State House, we had a Lobby Day that was ran by Civics Cannabis. Shout out to him, EBTHC, Dan the Cannon Man, Mike. So many people deserve a shout out in that one. Everyone killed it. Not a surprise there was a couple of people that were sponsored that didn't show up, but again, Leaf and Lettuce did show up. So we're going to get right into that. So what happened? Well, I went up to Keith at the very end of the day, and I went to shake his hand. I'm like, hey, man, out of respect, I just got to ask, what's your side of the story? What happened? I just want to hear it from the horse's mouth. And I apologize for this, YouTube. I may have to censor this out later. But what he said to me when I did this is I went up to him just like this, and he looked at me dead in the eye, and he's like, the fuck you doing over here? Like, how dare you come up to me and shake my hand? Get the fuck out of here. Fuck you. And I'm just like, what? Like, seriously, dude, I'm not trying to attack him. I don't want to come after him. That's not the point. Did I tell him he should probably lay low and that he is hot? Yes. Now, I don't do anything illegal now. However, I will be completely transparent and say, like, dude, I was selling weed when I was 16. I never sold it to kids. I sold it to all my friends' parents. And that's how I paid for my school pictures. That's how I paid for my lunches. As someone who came from nothing, that's how I survived until I was able to get up on my feet and get a job. Because, there's labor laws in Ohio, so you can only work so much. It's a whole story. But I understand when you're hot, you lay low. You definitely don't go to a bunch of events and then make everyone else hot. That just doesn't make sense. So I'm not sure if that's why he was mad at me and freaked out on me. I will say Megan, the lady that was with him, I think it's his wife or something like that. I'm not 100% sure. I don't know. I don't want to claim to know, but this is just what I had heard. But in that interaction, after I had went to shake his hand and he did that, and I was like, why are you mad at me? Like, I don't even understand. He wouldn't say anything to me. She chimed in and said, well, you got a lot of things wrong. And I'm like, well, then tell me what I got wrong. That's why I'm coming up to you. And I was just mind boggled by the fact that they were so upset. It actually left me really distraught. And I was thinking about it the rest of the day. If you guys watch my Instagram story, I'm sure you've seen it. I was like, dude, like, that really bugs me. I'm here for the community. I'm not here for attacking anyone. I'm not here to try and hurt anyone. I'm trying to shed light on things. I'm trying to let people know what's going on. So she said that I had a lot of things wrong and they wouldn't tell me what. And it was frustrating to me. So I'll be honest, I snapped and I'm like, all right, well, if that's how you guys are going to be, then we'll just see what the body cam footage shows. And it was at that point Ronnie from Ohio Boys got involved and he started trying to break things up, and he's like, dude, what are you doing? Like, you're just trying to create drama. You're doing this stuff for clicks. And again, none of this is for clicks. If I wanted to do things for clicks, there's a lot better things that I could be doing than cannabis content, and especially on YouTube and social medias. Wouldn't be what I was doing. So I just don't really know what to make of that. I'll let you guys make of that what you want. But that was the interaction that I had with Keith. Now, this morning and last night, I did wake up with a couple of screenshots of text messages between him and another person talking about this exact scenario. People have been reaching out to him saying, like, dude, you're hot, lay low. Sending him, I'm assuming, my content, talking about the whole thing. And it's not just me. It's not like I'm the first one to put out the video there of him getting detained and his stuff taken. Like, this is very viral. The original video has like well over 100,000 views, significantly more than my content has, for good reason. It's shorter. So also, by the way, if you're enjoying this content, I'm not making any money off of this, and we'll talk about that a little bit later, but I am making nothing off of any of this content. Again, if I was doing this for clicks or monetary value, that'd be a completely different story, but I'm not. So if you guys could do me a really big favor, if you're enjoying this, you want to see more of this, you really want me to dive deeper into this stuff and be able to spend more of my free time doing that, just leave a like, subscribe. I still need to get to the first 1,000 on YouTube here. As well as if it does pop up, hype the video. That really does help get it to more people. Share it with a friend who might be interested in this content and want to know what's going on with the community in Ohio. What's going on with this crackdown. SB 56 really messed everything up. Well, that's exactly what I'm doing. And I will be interviewing, more than likely, one of my sources here who I'll talk about. I'll be interviewing in the future Dave Gracie, the son of Helson Gracie, if you guys know who that is. I'll be interviewing one of the guys involved in the lawsuit that we'll be talking about later. I've got an extensive number of things lined up. It's just a matter of getting everything done. And I know this is a really long self-plug here, but it does all help a lot. And it really means a lot to me personally. So, again, I'm not really sure what to make of when they did that. When they got a little weird about me asking about the body cam footage, I got like, oh, something's off. So I woke up this morning and I got a screenshot of what he's telling people. He's telling people that I have everything wrong. There is no potential case. He doesn't know. I don't know what I'm talking about. And I'm like, the dude replied to him like, dude, like, he's got the video talking to the detective. Like, there is an open case against you. You may not have been indicted currently, which is two separate things. That doesn't mean there isn't potentially a case against you. Like, they took a large amount of stuff from you. That's not good. So the other thing that he's telling people, which will roll right into the other source that I have going on here, he's saying that Billy Blaze snitched on him. So he's saying that essentially Billy set him up. He snitched on him. And again, I want to take the time to just apologize, because honestly, I kind of felt that way looking at everything, looking at the message from the Holistic Cloud, looking at the way they kind of freaked out at first. But especially having talked to the source that I have, and I'll give you guys a little bit more information about that here in a second, I don't think that's the case. Now, I will say I did say I don't think Billy snitched. I think Billy knew that he was hot. However, here's the thing. Yes, he was Billy Blaze in the Holistic Cloud event. That whole thing was hot. They knew about it. But that's why they took precautions. And you're going to see here in just a second, they told them, don't vend cannabis. This isn't, or THCA or hemp or anything, no matter what we're calling it right now. Don't vend it. Like, the state's looking at that stuff. Turns out there was an artist that was literally saying that, like, hey, like, right up the street here, there's DEA sitting over there. What's going on? And I'll let you hear it from the source. But they warned them. Like, Billy Blaze and the Holistic Cloud people warned them, don't do this. things are hot. The state is watching. Don't do this. It sounds like they did it anyway. Now, for those of you who are saying, well, why did they even have him there? For those of you who don't know, as I said, Ronnie got involved, and the reason I think Ronnie even got involved or put himself into it at all, because I don't think he likes to put himself in drama and stuff like that, I think it's because they own a grow store together. So I think Billy Blaze's people, they've had them there previously for previous events doing exactly that. But I think they were under the impression they were just going to be selling lights or something like that. I don't know. That's a whole other thing. We'll get into that. Hopefully I will be interviewing my source. I will be real. I don't think any of the guys over at Billy Blaze wish ill on Keith and Leaf and Lettuce, especially because they gave them their money back. And that to me, that's really big. They gave them their money back. They said they'd help them. They tried to do everything. Now, were they there when the cops were raiding them? Were they coming up on the cops saying, no, you can't do this? No, they had a warrant. They had a warrant. They couldn't do anything. There was nothing Billy or the Holistic Cloud could do to save them at that point. Unfortunately, there's nothing any of us could have done. So we'll roll right into it. Let me pull this up here. This is my source directly from the Holistic Cloud. I've been talking with him a little bit lately, and he seems like the most straight shooter out of everyone. He was answering things on the Facebook posts. He did a live of his own on his own Facebook, talking about everything, talking about how the tickets for the Blazing Summers getting refund. Don't worry about it. He'd already had people reaching out to him. So, dude seems like the straightest shooter of the bunch. This is going to be a minute, and I will speed it up for you guys, so it may sound a little bit like that was a little bit talking about, but so here we go.
I talked to Keith after that. Sorry, it makes it a little easier. But it was a man named PJ Jenny. He was one of the performers. He had left. He was going to get a shower. He was coming back. When he came in, he was like, yo, there's like 4 DEA agents out on the main road. And I was like, well, they're only here for 2 reasons. Every year we've had those shows, they always sit out on the main roadway, and as people leave, they pull them over. The last few years, they never got anyone on any OVIs. They never caught anybody with drugs. So we thought maybe they were just pulling people over. Because the only thing they got the year before that was a bad registration sticker, and I think somebody had a crack on their windshield or something. It was something stupid. That's the only 2 tickets they wrote for either night. So that being said, I was like, they're either pulling people over, or there's somebody in here walking around trying to catch us up. And as soon as I found that out, because I had seen Keith had the drinks on his table, I was like, Bubba, you got to put those away. He said, oh, okay, I got you, bud, thank you. And he just took them off the little wooden shelf he had on the table and stuck them behind the shelf, still on the table. And I'm like, Bubba, put them away. Like, if somebody comes in here, they supply a drone over here, you're going to get hit. And he keeps saying, well, I paid a spot for a flower table. And I was like, well, if John Lee showed you the fucking little flyer that had all the tables, it was probably just an old one from last year. But we told everybody it was not that kind of event. It's an all-ages event. We're not going to sell fucking weed or THCA at a fucking all-ages event. We told everybody leading up to it, go watch any video, watch any post. We told everybody, load up your coolers, bring your family. This is a family event. And he kept saying, well, I paid for a flower table. If, again, John Lee, should not have had him there anyway. But I mean, they do sell grow lights and stuff. John Lee, and like I told Keith, more than likely, it's just because they've always been at our events. It's just a habit to say, hey, you guys want to come out and make some money. Not really thinking about it. But the waiver had it on there that we were not doing sales. Like every other person that they spoke to, every other vendor, told them the same thing. This is not that kind of event. Keith was the only one, and he even said he got overzealous. He let his guard down. He hadn't made any money. When the lady was kind of pushing about the pre-rolls, he's like, I sell Ace all the time. You know what I mean? And that's why I told him, I was like, well, and he's like, well, if you guys have that much heat, why was I there? Well, you shouldn't have been. We didn't have a lot of heat. You know what I mean? But anyone that has anything to do with THCA right now has heat from the whole state. You know what I mean? Like, this is the backroads Cadiz, Ohio, that has small town sheriffs that still think that weed is fucking heroin. So it's a different, you just don't piss around out there. And that's why we said it was not that kind of event. When you pulled up to the very front gates, it said no drugs, no guns, no glass bottles. Right on a little big ass sign. As soon as you pulled through the gate, you seen it. The waiver you signed stated none of that. We're not doing none of that. All of that combined, Bill had walked up to him and said, dude, you need to watch what you're doing. He keeps saying, well, Bill and them said, go ahead and do what you're going to do. Everyone said, if you're going to smoke, go into the camping areas because that's your dwelling for the weekend. Smoke back there because we had all the kids running around. It's not.
So what he meant there is like, if you're over at your campsite, we can't do nothing about it. So right there, you see him warned multiple times, like, hey, pull this out. And I will continue into this. I just got to make sure that this worked. Cool. So now that I know that you guys can actually hear the voiceover, again, this is right after this morning I talked to my dude and I'm like, hey, This is what I got from Keith. I let him know everything that I've let you guys know up till now, basically what he's saying, what he's telling people. So here's his response after that. And before I continue on with this voice, I do want to say, from everything else that I've gotten from him and what you're about to hear, I genuinely feel like this dude is sincere. I genuinely feel like he harbors no hate in his heart for Keith. In fact, he harbors nothing but love in his heart for him. It seems like he looks at him as a friend, even now, still, even hearing that, hey, like, dude's saying that you guys are snitching on him. He's not looking at it as, oh, well, he's trying to throw us under the bus. He's looking at it as, hey, man, this dude's like, he's getting things all wrong. I don't know what's going on with him. I don't know why he would think that. I hope he doesn't think that. He's telling me about all these ways that he's trying to help him. And even after I tell him that, he's like, I hope he doesn't hate me. I asked him if it's okay if I share some of this, and he's like, yeah, that's fine. But I really don't want Keith to hate me more than he already does. They don't want there to be beef between them. So for him to be going out there telling everyone that Billy Blaze set him up and that he's snitching on him, that just doesn't feel to be the truth. So I'll continue on with this. I'm not going to run it at the speed thing because it's really hard to hear. He does talk fast enough as it is, like myself. So here we go.
So to sit there and say we're setting him up is crazy to me. I even told him, I told you how sorry I was. I made sure that Bill sent him back his deposit because he shouldn't have been there. You know what I mean? And Bill absolutely made, he's like, absolutely, I'll get it sent to him right now because he shouldn't have been there. Like, we took every possible precaution to protect everybody once I found out that they were out there. Now, when they all came in, there was no warning. We just seen 5 fucking cop cars coming over cresting over the hill, coming down to the little venue area, and they came straight to his table. And he's like, well, none of y'all came over and even tried to help me. Do what? At that point, you already fucking sold it. They're coming for you anyway. They have a warrant for your truck, your table, and your tent. What the fuck could we have come over and done? What were we going to talk them out of? You know what I mean? Like, but what sense does it make to have just you come in just to get hit? Like, that makes no sense. None whatsoever. Like, it makes 0 sense for us to snitch on him when we were friends.
And another thing I will add here is another part of this that doesn't make sense if he was to snitch, if Billy Blaze and them would have snitched. It's not taking any heat off him. They had to close down the venue. Like, that last little bit of revenue source that they had, because the Holistic Cloud had to get shut down via SB 56. So the revenue streams are dwindling, my dude. Why would they make it hotter on themselves? It makes more sense for this guy's story to be the truth, where they're warning everyone, don't do it. We're trying to make this a kid-friendly event. Like, if you want to smoke, go to your campsite. We can't tell you to not smoke at your campsite. Don't do it with kids around you, but, so I get it. It's just wild. Again, so if you were going to snitch on someone, though, you snitch on the bigger fish. You don't snitch on the smaller fish. Like, the cops don't want the small fish. They want the big, big, big fish. So it doesn't make sense for him to have snitched on him, if that makes sense. So we'll continue on with this last part, and then we'll move on to the open records request talk about.
I even told him after the fact, like, I wanted to get some shows lined up and some stuff set up in, illegal states to try to help me recoup some of this money because I felt so fucking bad. I was like, listen, if you're still in, you know what I mean? Like, we'll try to get some shows set up in some legal states and we'll make sure you guys get there. You know what I mean? I told them, we're going to pay for your fucking shit. We like your vendor spot. We have to help you recoup some of that. We would never have done that on purpose. You know what I mean? Like, that just doesn't make sense. There's only 1 or 2 reasons they were on that road that day. And like I said, normally they could show up about 3, 4 o'clock and they're there till about midnight pulling people over as they leave. That they've done it every year since we've had those out there. And you can look up public record for Harrison County, the nights for the 420 and stuff. The only 2 things that anybody ever got pulled over for out there was a bad registration sticker. And like I said, I want to say it was obstructed view for the windshield, like a crack in the windshield or something. It was something stupid like that. I can't remember exactly what it was. But that was it. Those were the only times anyone was ever in any trouble getting pulled over out there. So I told them they're either out there pulling people over or they've got somebody here walking around because they swore it was a cannabis festival, even though we told everybody that's not what it was. And they're like, oh, well, you have all this heat on you. Everyone in Ohio has heat on them right now. Well, now they're finally laxing up, but I think they're seeing real quick that they're about to lose a lot of votes if they didn't give us this TRO. Like, people have been pissed about this, and it's ruining people's lives. Prime example. But we were nothing but accommodating Keith after that. But like, he's like, none of y'all even came over to try to help me. What the fuck were we supposed to do? We're not fucking lawyers. We're not. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we stayed the fuck out of the way. Everyone fucking told everybody, stay on your pivot. Don't sell anything. You're not supposed to be selling anything anyway. Put that stuff away. That way, if somebody comes in here, you don't get hemmed up. He was warned, and he kept saying.
So I'm just going to leave it at that because at that point he just kind of starts being repetitive. But yeah, it sounds like Keith was warned by multiple people there. So I I don't know what to do. But with that being said, obviously I have an open records request. However, there's been some issues with it. So first off, I didn't want to file the records request through this online portal. So if you want to file an open records request in the state of Ohio, we have a portal. By Ohio law, they're not supposed to make that the only avenue for you to be able to do so. If I want to make an anonymous email, brand new, right out the gate, and send an open records request into the state, they're supposed to accommodate that. They're supposed to be able to accommodate it over the phone as well. Over the phone, they did not want to accommodate the request at all in any way, shape, and or form. The lady, multiple times, the ladies on the phone would push me towards the portal. And I said, no, per Ohio law, ORC, whatever, I'm allowed to file through an email or on the phone or however. And she's like, oh, okay. And then they looked for my email. They couldn't find the email, even though they had responded to me on the email. She said that when you send the email in, they're supposed to give you a reference number. They gave me no reference number. They just told me nothing happened at that address in the email. You know what? I'll put the email right here. I'll put the email chain, just their response, blacking out my email. And like, it's nuts. And then them say, oh, well, we never got it. And then after looking hard as can be, I was on the line with her for like 5 minutes before she eventually found it. And she's like, oh, okay, I got this. I see what happened. There's like over 500 in line here for you. So it's going to be a while, which is insane. You're telling me there's 500 email public records requests that they haven't responded to? Isn't there supposed to be a reasonable amount of time that they're supposed to do that? I don't think the state law says what a reasonable amount of time is, but it's a reasonable amount of time. And if there's 500 of them in there, I don't think I'm going to get them at a reasonable time. So I decided, heck, why not? I'll go through the portal. I'm going to go that way. I filed the records request yesterday. So now that I'm doing that, here's my call to you guys. If you guys have been watching this far, you're clearly interested in what's going on. However, with this records request, one of the things that I did request, and I'm going to need a little bit of help on, is the body cam footage. I want to see what was said on that body cam footage. Keith is saying that they told him, let me be real careful about this, allegedly, from what Keith told someone else who told me, that when they arrested him, that all the tents were gone, which my source is telling me was not the case. The manager's tents. He was saying that when the police pulled him over, that they had set or arrested him or put him in handcuffs and detained him, that they weren't even looking for him. He just happened to be there. They're looking for harder stuff, yada, yada, yada. So if all that's true, I mean, that changes the narrative entirely. But I want to see what really happened. And I know you guys too. It's going to cost $38.75 or $38 and some change an hour for them to go through all the body cam footage for them to release it to me, and I have to pay that in advance. So my call to you guys is my Venmo is at Rodney Hash, exactly as it is. If you want to send me some money to help with this, donations, label it as gift or donation, I would really appreciate that. Because that will help me to be able to get that body cam footage as soon as they actually do their job and give it to me and tell me that it's there. This is a really weird one. Now, I really just hope that they actually give it to me. Like I said, in email, you'll see it over here. They were saying like that they didn't have anything at that address, so I had to change the address. It's a whole complex thing. But I'm going to need some help here with this. Also, if anyone knows any lawyers that are well-versed in public records requests, I would really appreciate that as well, just to talk to someone about it. Because, you know, I'm just a guy. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just trying to figure stuff out. So finally, the last thing that I do want to talk about is the big win or little win that we had here in the state of Ohio against the state of Ohio. We the people versus them. Now, the case isn't we the people versus the state of Ohio. It was 10 companies that are hemp companies here in the state of Ohio. They filed a lawsuit They were awarded a temporary restraining order, meaning that they cannot be prosecuted. No one can be prosecuted for selling these 10 products or 10 companies' products. So I'm pretty sure like the dispensary in Brook Park, the hemp store that's over there, that should be up and operational here real soon. They were awarded I believe it was like 14-day temporary restraining order, meaning that no one can be prosecuted for selling those products. Your bar can carry Appalachian Girls drinks. Shout out to them. The black cherry one's my favorite. So what's to happen next is usually when you win the temporary restraining order, more often than not, you do win the injunction. Now, that's not a guaranteed, but it is very likely. And if they do win the entire case, now I could be wrong on this, but to my understanding, like hemp will be legal again here in Ohio, which will change a lot of things. It doesn't completely undo SB 56. Gifting's still illegal. The situation that we talked about today would still be considered a crime. Selling a pre-roll to an undercover is still a crime. Gifting to an undercover outside of your primary residence is still a crime. By the way, the guy who helped write the bill, Senator Huffman, while at lobby day, I did confront him, and my microphone messed up a little bit. But one of the things that I was talking to him about is I was like, you understand that you made gifting illegal outside of the home. He's like, well, you can still do it in the home. And I'm like, yeah, but I can't go over to that dude and give him a joint like that. That becomes a crime. And he's like, well, you can't do that with coke or heroin either. So again, that's the level some of these people are at. That's why it's so important that we go to the state house and try and talk to these guys and confront these guys and call them on their stuff. I mean, like, this guy's literally comparing weed to heroin and coke. And he's like, well, they're both Schedule 1. And I'm like, dude, well, actually, Todd Blanche signed that thing. So technically, medical at the moment is kind of Schedule 3. Oh, I didn't know that went through. I don't know what you're talking about. Which tells you, again, he doesn't know what he's talking about. A lot of these legislators have no clue. The information they get is the information that we, the people, feed to them. So just keep that in mind. So this is a little win. It's not a big win. It's not going to completely overhaul or undo SB 56, but it will potentially undo portions of it, which to me, that's a win. So, all right. I think that's all I've got for you guys today. I am still going through. I got to go over some of the lobby day video. They do have a live stream. If you go on to the Civics Cannabis YouTube page, you will even see in the comments, I kind of time-stamped a couple of things for people just to make it a little bit easier because they live stream the entire day. So I'll be cleaning some of that stuff up, and then I will be talking about a lot of that stuff. There was some really important information that was dropped there. Some stuff from Senator Bill DeMora, some stuff from me, some stuff from Tim Johnson. Pretty crazy revelations that we will be talking about in the future. So definitely stay tuned, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, all that good stuff. And I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.